Hey guys, what's going on? Coming at you with a Saturday morning video. This is my first weekend video I've made in a really long time. So I've been very consistent with posting videos the past 2 weeks. I continue to do that. I have a more consistent schedule now. Just getting back in the routine of things. I want to appreciate all you guys for subscribing, liking. I think I'm over 700 subs now, so I've gained a really quick, strong amount of subscribers in a quick period of time for my channel at least. So it's much appreciated for anyone that's, subscribed or commented or liked. So really appreciate it. It keeps me motivated and wanting to do this. So today I just want to talk about basically just investing, basically opportunities. So this is something it took me a long time, not a long time, but it took me longer than when I kind of get mad at myself for not realizing this at a younger age. I didn't really have too much financial guidance as far as where you should put your money and how to really start developing compound interest. And that's really how wealthy people really get wealthy. Most people think, this is my opinion, that you want to go to school, you want to get a good degree, you want to get a good job, you want to work hard to get promotions. Well, if you do all that, let's just say you get out of school and you're 22 years old. Let's just say you're an engineer, right? Everyone looks at engineers as like if you graduate with an engineering degree, you'll find a subcategory, something in engineering to get a job. It's considered a good job. Let's just say you start at like $70,000. That's good outside of school, but you have student loans and you want a mortgage, or you buy a house, you have student loans, you want to get married, and you have kids by 27, 28 years old. You're going to be constantly battling yourself just to pay your payments, even with a $70,000 salary. Let's just say in 3 years you get to 85, 90, or 100. Okay. I mean, if you really think about it, the way the tax system works, you lose, 30% of your money if you contribute to a 401k, benefits, all that stuff. And then add, student loans, car, house, or rent, or whatever in there. So what people don't realize is, I think most people even, really go through school and work really hard, is you're never going to get a secondary home. You're never going to get a nice second car. You're never going to really gain that ultra rich wealth. Now, some people might be like thinking right now, oh, well, I don't want to be that rich, or I don't need to be that rich, or whatever. But even if you don't want those materialistic things, which is fine, you could save it for the next generation. You could save it for your kids. You could save it for their generation. You could donate to something you care about. You could try to make a major impact in a community or something. Like, you can do so many things when you have wealth. It doesn't have to necessarily be like, oh, you have multiple houses, you have nice cars, you go on vacations all the time, you can retire early. Everyone's, mindset is going to be different in what they want to do. But at the end of the day, anyone would be lying to you saying, oh, having too much money isn't nice. It doesn't solve happiness, obviously, or it can't solve a lot of, obviously like health, or there's a lot of things that, it can't fix. But if you don't have financial burden and stress, it's one less thing to worry about every day. So that's kind of how I look at it. It doesn't really necessarily fix things, but it just adds less stress to your day. So that's, it took me, honestly, I'm 32 years old. I just turned 32. I really didn't figure this out until 28, 29, and I didn't really start taking it seriously until like 29 and a half. So it's been about 3 years I've been really consistent and learning more and pushing myself and, staying very consistent no matter what the market does. Obviously, I hedge on if I go heavy, don't, do things accordingly. But if only I knew this at like 18, 19, or 16, or right out of school, like 21, 22, that's 8 or 7 years of time minimum, maybe even 10 years for some people, that I couldn't grasp this. Well, it's not that I didn't grasp it, I just didn't know. So hopefully, if you're younger watching this video, if you're in high school, like, you're a beast if you're investing. Like, I didn't even know what that was in high school. So, it's just, this is really the way to gain wealth. And my channel, I really like what I wanted to do. I kind of wanted to keep myself in check, to always look back at myself and see what I was doing or what my thoughts were. But also, I just want to help people out, like maybe they don't have guidance. Like, you could go to school, or you could have successful parents or not successful parents. Like, doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to set you up for financial success. So My goal here on YouTube is honestly to just try to help people out or just point them in the right direction. I'm not saying do what I do. You got to think for yourself, but this should, give you ideas. So that's really why you should invest. If you invest for 10 years and you get a 10% return or 8% return or 15% return, the compound interest, I can assure you in 10 years, every year, if you're consistent with, let's just say you start with like $1,000, right? And you invest for 10 years, right? And you put in, I don't know, let's just say you put in, starting out $200 to $500 a month, right? I can guarantee you at let's just say like a 10% return. I bet you in 10 years, this recipe, without even playing with the compound interest calculator, you would have, I guarantee you, over 250 to like 400,000. That's reasonable. Without playing with, someone can fact check me, but I bet you it's somewhere in this ballpark. And then once you get to this area, especially the 400 area, if you pull a 10% return, you're making 40 or 15%, you're making 45, let's just say, a year, and you're only getting taxed 15% if you long-term investors, which is what I do. So if you do this by like W-2 pay, this is really like, let's just say 65, 70,000. And this is just compound interest. So if you keep a job, you progress through a job and all that, wouldn't it be real nice every year to have 65, 70, an extra 65 to 70K salary in like a decade? So if you started at like 20 years old or even like 22, by my age, doing this simple recipe, starting with this and that much a month consistently, you'd probably be making this a month on compound interest. And I, wish I started at that age, but it took me longer to figure out, but that just makes me more motivated. And I do put in way more than this a month right now. So I'm fortunate I have a very good job and I have the opportunity to put in way more than that a month. So, but I'm just saying, starting out, making things realistic for most people, that's a good way to do it. And that's assuming you don't get into any of crypto, which I'm in, or metaverse, which is super risky, but I believe in, AI, really any of those things, cannabis is going to be big in the future, in my opinion. That's assuming you just do an easy peasy, index fund. That's what you're probably going to get. If you want to do individual stocks like what I do, you might get a little bit more. So yeah, age is super important. I feel like every year you wait, you're just wasting time. You're wasting time. If you play around even with if you have a job and you don't invest, right? Let me see where I'm at here. So if you have a job, right, and you don't invest, play around with a 401k calculator at your job. If you start contributing to 401k at 22 versus 32 versus 42, it is a substantial retirement difference. Mind-blowing how much it's different. So same thing with investing. If you start at a younger age, it's just going to be easier for you. Risk. So obviously the younger you are, the less responsibilities you have, the more risk you can take. That's kind of a given. So when I was younger, I didn't really understand investing, but I did understand value in assets. So I'm a really big car guy, and I would make cars very fast, like weekend cars and stuff like that. So still have a nice car as a weekend car, but I did scale down. I sold a really nice one recently. But, risk factor. So you can have more risk, but if I applied that to investing versus cars, I'd probably be a lot better off right now than modifying cars. So anyways, risk factor is important. So the younger you are, the more risk you can take. When you start having a family, you can't take as much risk because you have more responsibility. So that's why it's important to start young. You can take more of a risk. You can figure things out. Obviously, you're going to make mistakes when you start investing. I still make mistakes sometimes to this day, but I feel more, I don't get nervous. I don't get down on myself. I just look at it 95% of the time, I just feel like it's a buying opportunity at this point because I understand how everything works and macroeconomics and how to read a balance sheet, how to read 10Qs, listen to earnings calls, just really kind of see where things are trending. There's so many tools out there that you can use to kind of get a good grasp of how you want to hedge it. Fear. So most people, when they're in the market, especially if they don't know what they're doing or they just follow people doing no independent research, when things get rough, like right now, you see headlines like most inflation since 1981. Are we going into another recession? Is Russia going to nuke someone or use, nuclear warfare somewhere? Are we going to have World War III? There's a lot of fear going on right now. And when fear gets in play, really that's when everyone leaves the market. Everyone gets scared. Everyone wants to hold cash, put their stuff in metals like gold and silver and stuff like that, or just hunker down or whatever, So when there's max, like we're pretty much at max fear in modern day, in my opinion. This is when you should be buying right here. You buy right here, max fear. So slowly you'll break out of that max fear, and little by little things will get better. Like, oh, we didn't miss earnings. Oh, inflation's not as bad as we thought. Oh, inflation's coming down. Oh, wait, we might not hit a recession in 2023. So as these things break down, the market's going to just climb. I mean, it's just how it works when things are like at such low levels. They're just disrespected right now. So that's something you got to keep in mind. And I know it's scary to buy right now, but this is the best buying opportunity you get. And then you get all the people that don't understand investing and they see the market go up. Well, they get FOMO and they just buy in. And then you're down here with your position. You're the one reaping all the benefits. So that's kind of, my thoughts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this video now. I'm going to make a part 2 for tomorrow.